Jacob Sugden has been shocked by a major confession from Dr Caitlin Todd in Emmerdale. It has been a difficult few days for Jacob after learning that Todd had submitted a formal complaint against him at Sugden General Hospital. She gathered a collection of evidence, including recorded conversations, which made him appear fixated and unfit to complete his medical training. Wanting the situation to finally end, Jacob headed to Sugden to confront her and convince her to withdraw the accusation. Unknown to Todd, he was secretly recording the exchange, and for a brief moment, it looked as though his plan had worked. Todd simply mocked him, admitting she took pleasure in intimidating him, and insisting he would not be the first or last person she targeted. She then poked at his chest, comparing the feeling to the satisfaction of bursting balloons, before snatching his phone and erasing the recording. Humiliated by the encounter, Jacob stormed outside and screamed in frustration. What makes Todd's actions even worse is the dangerous secret she is hiding. She recently uncovered that Jacob and his wife Sarah are not the biological parents of baby Leyla. Instead, Charity Dingle became pregnant with her own child while attempting to act as their surrogate. To protect her position at the hospital, Todd used the secret to pressure Charity into persuading Jacob to withdraw his original complaint. In today's episode, Jacob finally reached his limit and returned to the hospital to speak with HR once more. Meanwhile, Todd was seen in the corridor giving an emotional farewell speech to her colleagues while receiving flowers. It was then revealed that she had chosen to retire early. Clearly worried that her professional reputation was about to collapse, Todd decided to leave the medical field before events spiraled further. Sarah encouraged Jacob to continue pursuing the complaint, but he decided the ordeal had gone on long enough and wanted to leave it all behind. Later in the Woolpack, Vanessa Woodfield questioned Todd about her sudden departure. She even hinted that Jacob may have played a role in the decision, and although Todd avoided giving a direct answer, she warned that Jacob would eventually be found out. It seems Jacob's troubles may only just be beginning. Emmerdale has revealed Dawn Fletcher's latest scheme as she secretly works to take down Joe Tate. In Wednesday's episode, Dawn finds herself questioning whether tricking Joe is really the right decision. However, after an emotional conversation with Moira, the plan soon falls back into place. Her uncertainty begins when she notices how thrilled Joe is about the news that they are expecting a baby together. Seeing a gentler and more caring side to him leaves Dawn briefly imagining a possible future with him after all. During a visit to Wishingwell Cottage, Dawn opens up to Moira about her worries. She explains that Joe has already told the children about the pregnancy, and they are now excited about the idea of building a family life together at Home Farm. Dawn admits the kids have grown very close to him and insists that Joe behaves completely differently around them. Later on, Dawn appears to turn against the Dingles when she complains to Joe about Belle causing problems for her at Take a Vow. Still carrying his resentment towards the family, Joe quickly offers Dawn the money needed to buy Belle out of the business, proudly claiming it would finally put Belle in her place. When Dawn later meets with Moira and Belle, it becomes clear that Joe has walked straight into their setup. Dawn reveals that they tempted him perfectly and he took the bait without hesitation. She also explains that the money will arrive in her account the following day and admits she could not have pulled it off without their help. Although Moira and Belle are shocked by how smoothly the scheme has gone so far, there may still be complications waiting around the corner. Emmerdale's Cain Dingle is set for a furious showdown next week, after learning that Robert Sugden was behind Moira's imprisonment. Rather than focusing on recovering from cancer surgery, Cain becomes consumed with anger and takes drastic action by holding Robert captive. Cain's upcoming week is already emotional, as he finally prepares to undergo his long-awaited operation. After his recent car accident delayed the procedure, the prostate surgery becomes increasingly urgent to stop the cancer from spreading further. The entire Dingle family anxiously waits as Cain heads into surgery, with young Kyle finding the situation especially difficult to cope with. Fortunately, the operation is successful. Back at home during his recovery, Aaron and Robert visit to check on Cain. However, the tense atmosphere quickly becomes uncomfortable, leaving Cain suspicious about what is going on. Jeff Hordley, who portrays Cain, explained that Cain immediately notices strange behavior between Robert, Aaron, and Moira. While changing his catheter, Cain senses that something has clearly happened between them. At first, Moira refuses to explain, but eventually she reveals the truth. Feeling trapped and still deeply angry, Moira admits that Robert planted the fake identity documents at Butler's, which originally led to her arrest. The revelation sparks fury in Cain, despite Moira desperately urging him to stay calm. Still bitter over the ordeal that nearly saw his wife sent to prison for life, Cain struggles to let the matter go, even as Moira begs him to focus on recovering from surgery. Pretending to agree with her wishes, Cain secretly begins planning revenge against Robert. Jeff Hordley revealed that although Cain is weak after leaving hospital, he still finds the determination to grab a hammer before sneaking off with Sam to confront Robert. The next day, Robert is working on the farm when he hears suspicious noises coming from the barn. As he investigates, he is suddenly attacked from behind and knocked unconscious. Following Cain's orders, Sam overpowers Robert, leaving him tied to a chair and completely defenseless. Standing over a terrified Robert with a hammer in hand, Cain makes it clear that he intends to make him suffer for betraying Moira. The question now is whether Cain's revenge will go too far. Fans of Emmerdale believe they may have already worked out the verdict, as Beowulf, Paddy Kirk, and Dylan Penders await sentencing in court, following a major murder-related storyline. In previous episodes, Beowulf vanished after feeling lonely and vulnerable in the village. He told Paddy Kirk he was travelling to Ireland, but months passed with no contact. It was later revealed he had actually been trapped on a nearby farm, forced into exploitative labour by Ray and Celia Daniels. Living under the false name Ted, Bear endured harsh conditions while being denied access to his phone and passport, leaving him completely cut off from the outside world. Meanwhile, Dylan Penders and April Windsor had been manipulated by Ray into drug dealing before Dylan was taken to the same farm. There, Celia Daniels introduced him to the operation and suggested he could become her successor in Ray's criminal business. The situation escalated when Celia tried to escape to Wales with Ray, but he ultimately killed her in an attempt to sever ties. Ray later met his own fate after threatening Paddy Kirk and Dylan, with Bear unexpectedly reappearing and fatally confronting him. Now, as sentencing begins, viewers are debating what punishment the trio might face. Many believe Bear could be cleared due to the trauma and coercion he suffered, while Paddy Kirk and Dylan Penders may still face consequences linked to interfering with the aftermath of the events. On social media, some fans have speculated that Bear will be acquitted after the court recognises his abuse, while Paddy and Dylan could receive prison sentences for their involvement in covering up the situation. Another viewer suggested Bear should be excused due to his mental state, while Paddy may still be held accountable. Emmerdale is broadcast on weeknights at 8 p.m. on ITV, or you can stream it from 7 a.m. on ITVX and YouTube.